I was always climbing through the back window to get into the house every day after school. It's like TV dinners, and there was nothing that was really keeping us as like a family unit anymore. I mean, it was we put the funk back in dysfunctional. Let's put it that way. You know?
In 5th grade, Billy Joe became best friends with another latchkey kid flirting with delinquency.
I had like 75 detentions, and the principal calls me in and he's laughing like, Mike, nobody in the school has more detentions than you.
He was so obnoxious and people would get irritated with him. But I always thought it was funny, and I think a lot of it had to do with trying to get a laugh out of me all the time.
The new friends had a common love for all things antisocial, especially the furious sound of hardcore punk.
You hear that stuff, you're like, oh, wow, that's cool. It's got total energy, and it sounds like it's coming from people that are playing at the same kind of amps that I have. You know? Crap.
As they entered their teens, Billy Joe and Mike started venting their adolescent angst through songs.
Sweet children, sweet children.
They formed a band called Sweet Children, and friends plugged them into an alternative music scene just 15 miles down the freeway.
They kept talking to me about this place called Gilman Street in Berkeley.
924 Gilman Street was a mecca for punk rockers from the Bay Area, an old warehouse that had been converted into a club.
We'd see like punks that were sitting on the steps and, you know, looking very mean.
Inside Gilman's concrete walls, punk carried an almost sacred code of ethics.
No alcohol, no drugs, no sexism, no racism, no violence.
And most importantly, no corporations. Any musician that had signed to a major music label was considered a sellout and the enemy.
It was militant. The minute you make your living from music, it becomes corrupt, and it ruins everything.
The last thing you want to do is be a part of the masses, part of the sheep-like herd. Hell no, absolutely not.
Gilman was where social outcasts came to find a sense of community, and Billy Joe and Mike dove right in, christening themselves in the mosh pit.
Welcome to paradise.
There's a circle pit. I run in, we're running around in circles and having a blast. I remember this one punk guy jumps over and his Doc Martin caught me right in the forehead.
He got buckled, you know. It was harsh.
It knocked me flat out.
But for the first time in their lives, the 15-year-olds felt like they belonged somewhere.
At school, I felt sort of like invisible and I didn't exist, where there, I felt invisible and I didn't exist, but I did it with a bunch of other people that felt the same way.
And I'm never gonna go.
Billy Joe and Mike's sole ambition was to play a gig at Gilman, and anything that got in the way would be sacrificed.
School for me was holding me back from what I really wanted to do. I wanted to be in a band, and I wanted to be a punk.
Welcome to paradise. Hey there, looking at me. Tell me, what do you see?
In 1987, 15-year-olds Billy Joe Armstrong and Mike Dirnt had formed a band called Sweet Children, pumping out their own brand of blue-collar punk.
I just looking up at you.
It was their dream to play Berkeley, California's punk mecca, Gilman Street. But at first, their sound was considered too melodic for the club's hardcore counterculture ethics.
Standing across the room, are you leaving soon?
We've never been entirely embraced by the punk rock community because we do sing love songs.
There was a lot of the punker-than-thou kids who never liked them, who would make fun of them for being too sweet and too innocent and too pop.
But in 1988, they finally convinced the managers of the club to give them a shot. And they cranked.
First time I ever got on a stage, I just felt like, wow, you know, this is where I've always wanted to be. It's like, I'm not the guy that's like watching anymore, I'm the guy that's playing.
Sweet Children came on and played like they were the Beatles at Shea Stadium. It was just incredible. Billy especially just sang his heart out. They just sang like they were already on top of the world, and they were.
Someone